She got married on Wednesday. By Thursday, she was dead. Her body stuffed into a black suitcase, bones broken to make her fit. And her killer? He was outside putting up Halloween decorations while neighbors searched for his missing wife. October 31st, 2021. Halloween Day in Lightcliff, a small village near Halifax, England. A neighbor was walking through a field behind Aysgarth Avenue when they spotted something hidden in the bushes. A large black suitcase, pushed deep into the undergrowth like someone wanted it to stay hidden forever. When police opened that suitcase, they found 52-year-old Dawn Walker. Her face was bent toward the wheels. Her legs were twisted and broken. Her ribs were snapped. Someone had forced her small body into that case with brutal strength, breaking her bones like she was nothing more than trash to throw away. Dawn had gotten married just 4 days earlier. She should have been on her honeymoon, living the happiest moment of her life. Instead, her new husband, Thomas Nutt, had killed her on their wedding night, hidden her body in a kitchen cupboard for 3 days, then dragged her into a field and dumped her like garbage. While Dawn's body rotted in that cupboard, Nutt pretended everything was normal. He sent fake text messages from her phone. He told neighbors she was sleeping off a hangover. He even took her daughter to search for her, knowing exactly where she was the whole time. This is the true story of how a wedding became a murder scene and how a killer almost got away with it. Dawn Walker was tiny, just 5 feet tall, with a big heart and an even bigger smile. At 52, she was a proud mother of 3 daughters and grandmother to a baby boy. Everyone in Lightcliff knew Dawn. She was the type of person who always helped others, always had kind words, always made time for friends and family. In 2019, Dawn met Thomas Nutt on Facebook. He was 45, worked as a scrap metal dealer, and seemed charming at first. They started dating, and soon Nutt moved into Dawn's home in Lightcliff. For a while, things seemed fine. But behind closed doors, a nightmare was starting. What Dawn didn't fully know was that Thomas Nutt had a dark history. When he was just 17, he was found guilty of causing serious bodily harm to someone. In the 1990s, he went to prison for years because of robbery. Nutt was a violent man who used his fists to get what he wanted. As time went on, neighbors started noticing scary things. They heard loud arguments coming from Dawn's house late at night. They heard Dawn screaming, "Tomo, get off me!" One neighbor even saw Dawn with a massive black eye and cuts on her face. When asked what happened, Dawn said she fell. But nobody believed that. The injuries were too bad, too violent. The truth was simple and terrible. Thomas Nutt was beating Dawn. He controlled everything she did. He asked where she was going, who she was seeing, how long she would be gone. Dawn told friends she felt like she was walking on eggshells, never knowing what would make him angry. In 2021, Dawn finally got brave enough to report Nutt to the police. He had beaten her so badly she couldn't hide it anymore. Police believed her. They arrested Nutt and put him in jail while waiting for his trial. Dawn was finally free. But then something terrible happened. While Nutt was locked up, Dawn changed her mind. She told police she didn't want to press charges anymore. Without her testimony, the case fell apart. Nutt was released and moved right back into Dawn's home. Why did Dawn change her mind? Friends believe Nutt manipulated her from jail, maybe threatening her or promising to change. Dawn was trapped in the cycle that destroys so many abuse victims. She loved him. She believed his promises. She thought this time would be different. It wasn't. On October 27, 2021, Dawn Walker married Thomas Nutt. About 20 friends and family came to the wedding and then celebrated at a local pub. It should have been the happiest day of Dawn's life. But even on her wedding day, Dawn seemed nervous. Her daughter Kira noticed her mother was shaking and upset while getting ready. When Kira asked if she was okay, Dawn said something chilling. "I feel like something bad is going to happen to me." Kira tried to calm her down, saying it was just wedding nerves. But Dawn repeated it again. "I feel something bad is going to happen." She was right. The wedding party ended around 8:10 p.m. Dawn and Nutt got into a taxi and went home. Security cameras caught them arriving just after midnight. The taxi driver later told police everything seemed normal. They looked happy. That was the last time anyone saw Dawn Walker alive. What happened next, only Nutt knows for sure. But evidence shows that sometime between midnight and dawn on October 28th, Thomas Nutt killed his new wife. He strangled her with extreme force. He punched her face, breaking her nose and eye socket. Dawn's small body had no chance against his strength. After killing Dawn, Nutt hid her body in a kitchen cupboard. Then he did something shocking. He went ahead with their honeymoon plans like nothing happened. The next morning, Nutt told neighbors Dawn was inside, sleeping off a hangover. He loaded up their caravan and drove toward Skegness, a beach town 80 miles away, where they had planned to spend their honeymoon. But Dawn wasn't with him. Police later checked every security camera along the route. Every single camera showed Nutt driving alone. The passenger seat was empty. He had even put items on the seat where Dawn should have been sitting. While Nutt was parked alone in Skegness, Dawn's body was rotting in the kitchen cupboard back home, and Nutt was busy covering his tracks. He sent text messages from Dawn's phone to her daughters, pretending to be her. The messages said things like, "Having a great time," and "Can't wait to see you when we get back." He even made plans to meet Dawn's daughter at a shopping center on October 31st. Dawn's daughters had no idea their mother was already dead. They thought she was enjoying her honeymoon. They texted back, excited to hear from her. At the same time, Nutt was also sending messages from his own phone to Dawn's phone. He wrote things like, "Where are you? I miss you. Please come home." He was creating fake evidence to make it look like he had no idea where his wife was. On October 29th, Nutt made a suspicious trip. Security cameras caught him at a clothing donation bin, throwing away black bags. He drove up, quickly dumped the bags, and left. By the time police found this footage, the bin had been emptied. Whatever evidence was in those bags was gone forever. On October 30th, Nutt returned home from his fake honeymoon. When a neighbor asked about Dawn, he said she was inside recovering from drinking too much at the wedding. But other neighbors noticed strange things. Dawn's curtains stayed closed all day, which was unusual. Washing that had been on the line before the wedding was still there, untouched. Dawn was known for getting up early and staying busy. She drove everywhere, even short distances, because years ago, a stranger attacked her and made her scared to walk alone. Her car sat in the driveway, unused. Nobody saw her. Nobody heard from her. Something was very wrong. October 31st, Halloween morning. Nutt was outside his house putting up decorations. He hung fake spider webs, placed plastic skeletons in the garden, and even put up police tape as part of the spooky display. When a neighbor asked about Dawn, Nutt started crying. He said she had left the house early that morning after an argument and hadn't come back. The neighbor joked, "Where have you buried her, Tomo?" It was meant as a dark joke. But Nutt's reaction was strange. He became very emotional. That morning, Nutt called police to report Dawn missing. He told them she suffered from mental health problems and might have walked off in an unstable state. He said she wanted a divorce and had threatened to report him for assault and rape again. A police officer came to the house at 11 a.m. to talk to Nutt, but when the officer knocked, nobody answered. The officer waited, confused. Where was Nutt? 10 minutes later, Nutt appeared, sweating heavily and breathing hard. He said he had quickly run to the shop and rushed back. He invited the officer inside and spent over an hour answering questions, playing the role of a worried husband. But the officer didn't know what had just happened. At that exact moment, Nutt had just finished dragging his wife's dead body out of the house. When police later checked the security cameras at Nutt's house, they saw the horrible truth. The footage showed Nutt in his back garden at 10:50 a.m., struggling with a large black suitcase. He dragged it across the garden, clearly struggling with the weight. Nutt pulled the suitcase to his back fence and threw it over into the field beyond. The timestamp showed it was exactly 11 a.m. when the police officer was knocking on his front door. After the officer left, cameras caught Nutt going back to the garden. He used his foot to sweep away the marks left by the suitcase wheels, trying to hide the evidence. Inside that suitcase was Dawn's body. Nutt had broken her bones to make her fit inside. Her ribs were snapped. Her legs were twisted into horrible positions. The doctor who examined her body said these injuries happened after death. Nutt had broken his dead wife's bones just to stuff her into a suitcase. That same afternoon, Nutt did something truly evil. He asked Dawn's youngest daughter, Kira, to help search for her missing mother. Together with Kira's baby son, they drove around showing people Dawn's photo and asking if anyone had seen her. They even went back to Nutt's house for lunch. Kira sat at the kitchen table, eating food, talking about where her mom might be. She had no idea that just days earlier, her mother's body had been hidden in a cupboard in that very kitchen. Other neighbors joined the search. This was a small village where people cared about each other. When someone went missing, everyone helped. But they were searching for someone who was already dead, lying in a suitcase in the bushes behind her own home. At 4:38 p.m., a neighbor checked the field behind the houses. They found the black suitcase hidden in thick bushes. When they looked inside and saw what was there, they immediately called the police. Police arrested Thomas Nutt that same day. When they searched his house, they found a mop, bucket, and bleach in the kitchen. Someone had tried to clean up. Security footage from October 30th showed Nutt at a recycling center with a co-worker. While the co-worker wasn't looking, Nutt removed 2 white plastic bags from his van and threw them into a skip. Police searched that skip and found a box with Nutt's address on it. Under the box were a dressing gown cord and slippers. Prosecutors believed Nutt had used the cord to strangle Dawn. Nutt's phone records revealed more proof of his guilt. His Google search history showed he looked up police procedures for missing persons and can deleted messages be recovered from iPhone. He even searched how to change over child tax benefit, planning for a future without Dawn before her body was even found. On the wedding night, Dawn's last real text message was sent at 10:10 p.m. to a friend. After that, silence. At 2 a.m., Nutt was caught on security cameras at an ATM, withdrawing £200 using Dawn's bank card. He pulled his hoodie up to hide his face, clearly knowing he was doing something wrong. The doctor who examined Dawn's body confirmed she died from strangulation. The force used was extreme. Her neck showed deep damage. Her face was covered in bruises. Her nose was broken. Her eye socket was fractured. These were not injuries from an accident or brief struggle. Someone had attacked Dawn with brutal, sustained violence. Given her tiny size and Nutt's strength, she never had a chance. In July 2022, Thomas Nutt went on trial at Bradford Crown Court. He admitted to killing Dawn but said it was manslaughter, not murder. His story was that they argued when they got home from Skegness on October 30th. He claimed Dawn said she wanted a divorce and threatened to report him to police. He said she attacked him, scratching his face, and he only defended himself. According to Nutt, he hit Dawn and put his arm around her neck to restrain her. When she went limp, he panicked. Instead of calling for help, he hid her body. But police proved Nutt was lying. Security cameras showed he traveled to Skegness alone. Dawn died on their wedding night, October 27th, not October 30th like Nutt claimed. Phone records proved he sent fake messages from her phone for days. The injuries on Dawn's body were far too severe to be self-defense. The prosecutor told the jury about Nutt's ghastly charade of pretending to search for Dawn while knowing she was dead. He showed the security footage of Nutt dragging the suitcase through his garden. He presented the fake text messages and phone records. Dawn's family gave heartbreaking statements in court. Her sister Lisa said Nutt manipulated and isolated Dawn for 3 years before his ungodly hands took her away from us forever. Nutt chose not to testify. He sat in the courtroom looking bored and emotionless as the horrible details of his crime were revealed. On August 10th, 2022, after just 3 hours, the jury returned with their decision: guilty of murder. On August 19th, 2022, the judge sentenced Thomas Nutt to life in prison. He must serve at least 21 years before he can even ask for parole. The judge spoke directly to Nutt. Dawn Walker died because you are a bully. You dominated her with controlling behavior, and this led to unjustifiable violence. You treated her body with no respect whatsoever. You have shown no genuine remorse. The judge continued. Your behavior in going out with Kira to look for Dawn was cruel and misleading. You have blamed Mrs. Walker and tried to use her mental illness to save yourself. I find you to be without remorse. Days after sentencing, Nutt was attacked by another prisoner at HMP Leeds. Reports said he had been acting tough, trying to boss other inmates around. Another prisoner gave him a beating. Nutt was taken to the hospital but returned the same day. He was then put in solitary confinement for his own protection. In October 2022, Nutt tried to appeal his conviction. But with the mountain of evidence against him, his appeal had almost no chance of success. Dawn Walker was 52 years old when she died. She had 3 daughters who loved her, a grandson who adored her, and friends who valued her kindness. She deserved to grow old, watch her grandson grow up, and enjoy life. Instead, she was murdered by the man who promised to love her forever, on the night that should have been the beginning of their happiness together. Her daughter Cody said, "Could we have done more to protect her from him? I pray he is never allowed to do this to another family." Her daughter Kira spoke about the cruelty of Nutt taking her to search for her mother while knowing she was dead. He took me and my son looking for her knowing she was dead. He even took us back to the house for lunch while my mom's body was still in a cupboard. I will never forgive him. Dawn's story is a harsh reminder that domestic violence can turn deadly. The warning signs were there. Dawn had reported Nutt to the police. She had visible injuries. Neighbors heard her screaming, but the system failed to protect her, and Dawn paid with her life. Share this story to spread awareness about domestic violence and the warning signs we must never ignore. Subscribe for more true crime stories that shine light on the darkness around us. Stay alert, stay aware, because evil can hide behind a smile, and sometimes the people closest to us are the most dangerous.